A nigga winning for real. Better call 911. This nigga got a gun.
It's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And if we come down to a civil war, I'm glad we got people like Schmitty and the Bikers for Trump on our side.
This is Ohio State Senator George Lang calling for a civil war if Trump loses the election. He later said he regrets making those remarks, but they aren't the first of their kind for MAGA Republicans. Recently, Trump himself said,
"If we don't win this election, we may never have another election. I'm telling you, this may be our last election."
And numerous politicians on the right have signaled they won't accept the election results if Trump doesn't win.
Yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024?
I look forward to President Trump being the 47th president.
Other MAGA politicians and pundits have also suggested the possibility of a civil war.
We become totally unhinged if Donald Trump is not elected in November.
We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
I don't want a civil war. I don't want to have to draw my rifle. I want to make this problem go away with my legislative means of doing so.
Harris campaign spokesperson Amar Moussa responded to Senator Lang's civil war prediction in a statement saying, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are running a campaign openly sowing hatred and promising revenge against their political opponents. It's a feature, not a bug, of their campaign and message to the American people. That's why a Republican official was empowered to predict a civil war while introducing these candidates.
The other day, a video came out of Governor Whitmer's opponent claiming that Democrats have been working for decades to topple the United States because they're still upset about losing the Civil War. And that COVID restrictions were part of some master plan to do this. Now, first of all, what? What? Imagine if instead of coming up with a story about how us having to watch Tiger King in our sweatpants was somehow some kind of government plot. Imagine if she spent some time coming up with some ideas to create more jobs here in Michigan, or to give folks more health care, or to improve our schools. That's what you want from the governor of your state.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is WD3, and this is your Hill Report news break. Well, today, our political environment is very toxic. There's supporters calling for civil war on both sides of the aisle based on the results of the election. Considering there's only one person that can win, and there's two sides that are really eligible, somebody is going to spark it. Is that what we need right now, a civil war? We have Russia threatening war on us. We have Iran threatening war. We have our allies in the Middle East engaged in wars. We are in proxy wars. We have upset countries that we have toppled in the last 20 years. I'm telling you, folks, this is way too unhinged. We need to tamp down the rhetoric. I'll tell you what, from my perspective, I think that no reparations, no vote, so I'm not in it. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who are in it, and you will be sucked in. Is this country headed for a civil war?
Donald Trump wins. They will move to disqualify him through Congress, invoke civil war conditions, and tell the Trump hordes that Donald Trump is disqualified and not allowed to be president.
So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody and civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that back to life, even as we're continuing to amend the Constitution, as Professor Hassan has invited us to do.
What a wild thing to say to a group of people so casually, that we will need bodyguards for everyone's civil war conditions. What he is saying that if Donald Trump wins on January 6th, they must stop him from taking office.
Donald Trump were to be found guilty by a jury, where do you see this going?
Civil war.
But we know that only through force do we make any change in a corrupt town like Washington, D.C.
Someone's going to get so pissed off they're going to shoot someone. That's what's going to happen. Or we're going to have a civil war or some sort of revolution. That's where this is going.
I'm going to ask them, what the heck? Do you want us to be in civil war? Because that's what's going to happen.
I told one senator, I said, listen, we've got to put our heads together and figure this out. We need to be taking action right now. Because if we don't, our constituencies are going to be fighting it in the streets. Do you want a civil war?
If our election systems continue to be rigged and continue to be stolen, then it's going to lead to one place, and it's bloodshed. And I will tell you, as much as I'm willing to defend our liberty at all costs, there's nothing that I would dread doing more than having to pick up arms against a fellow American.
This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not, that's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people?
I'll tell you right now, folks, this rhetoric is very dangerous. There is no more brutal form of war than a civil war, even more brutal than warring and fighting against another nation. A civil war pitting brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, it gets really brutal and no one can escape. It will ruin a country and invite our enemies around the world to come in and clean up the job. Is this what we want? Or can we settle this in a civil, legal voting realm? Will we keep this in the realm of legislation? Will we keep this in the realm of the Constitution? I'm telling you guys, you don't want a repeat of the Civil War. Let's hear some more rhetoric.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening.
I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift, and I don't give a who gets upset. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift, and F all of the people who want to see these children have body parts chopped off and watch them sterilized under the age of consent, and then will ride off to their multi-gazillion-dollar mansions, never to think of them again.
Well, thank you guys for taking this news break with me on this great Friday, beginning of the fall. I'm telling you guys, we need to turn down the temperature in this country or things are going to get way out of control. People are going to start grouping up, factioning up, and I'm telling you, we don't want a civil war. But if it happens, I'm telling you, you guys will remember you've been warned. No reparations, no vote. This is WD3. It's your Hill Report News Break. Guys, I want to hear your comments on this. I want to hear some people who are willing to turn the temperature down.